Alex had always thought moving to a new place would be simple. He had packed his few belongings, said goodbye to his family, and boarded the space shuttle that would take him to Station Orion, a bustling hub for travelers, merchants, and students from all over the galaxy. It was his first time living far from Earth, and he imagined a quiet life of studying alien cultures, exploring new technology, and maybe even making a few friends. He hadn't expected his roommate to be Lyra. The first time Alex saw her, he froze. She was nothing like any human he had ever seen. Her skin shimmered faintly with soft blues and purples, almost like liquid light flowing across her body. Her eyes were larger than normal human proportions, gleaming with silver specks that seemed to move, reflecting light like tiny stars. Even more surprising were the tendrils that extended from her head, gently swaying as she moved. They were not hair, Alex realized, but sensory appendages, like a mix between antennae and nerves that could read subtle vibrations in the air. She smiled, showing no teeth but a series of delicate ridges that curved in a way that somehow expressed friendliness. "Hello, human," she said, her voice melodic but with a cadence Alex couldn't quite place. "I am Lyra. You are Alex, yes?" Alex nodded, trying to speak, but his voice caught in his throat. Yeah, that's me." Lyra tilted her head, studying him with curiosity. "Curious species," she whispered, almost to herself. "I will assist you in your transition." He blinked, unsure if that was an offer or a warning. The first few days were awkward. Alex kept to his room, slowly unpacking while Lyra roamed the apartment with fluid, graceful movements. She didn't speak much, but when she did, she often described things that seemed impossible. The space station's plumbing, she said, had layers humans could not see. The gravity regulators were more like living creatures than machines. Even the air carried messages in frequencies that only her species could detect. Alex nodded politely, but much of it went over his head. Then came the morning that changed everything. Alex woke up to an unusual sensation, something warm pressing against his chest and a weight on top of him. He shot up in panic, flailing, only to see Lyra calmly looking down at him. She wasn't touching him in a harmful way. Her hands hovered just above him, but the pressure of her body even slightly made him freeze. What are you doing?" he stammered, scrambling backward. Lyra's large eyes blinked slowly, unbothered by his panic. "You are awake. Good. I needed to ensure your transition to this environment was safe," she said, her voice calm and oddly reassuring. "In Sci-Fi culture, we sometimes position ourselves above a sleeping companion to awaken them gradually." Alex blinked, processing this. "You what?" Lyra shrugged, as if it was the most natural thing in the universe. "Your species prefers different methods. My method prevents sudden shock to the system." He stared at her, dumbfounded. "Okay, I think I understand." "Not really, but Lyra's tendrils twitched lightly and she leaned back slightly, giving him room to breathe. "You will adapt. I observe many behaviors. Your reactions are amusing." Despite the initial panic, Alex couldn't help but notice how delicate she moved, almost like a dancer. Her presence, while startling, wasn't dangerous. There was something reassuring in the way she seemed to study him, not with malice but curiosity. The day went on slowly. Alex tried to ignore what had happened, but he couldn't stop glancing at her as she moved around the apartment, humming quietly in a way that made the air feel alive. She rearranged things, books, gadgets, even his clothes, in patterns that seemed chaotic but somehow practical. Every time he questioned her actions, she would answer in her melodic voice, "Efficiency does not require explanation, only observation." Over the next week, Alex learned more about Lyra's habits. She woke before him every day, often hovering near his bed to make sure he had woken properly. At first he found it intrusive, but slowly he began to understand it as a form of care in her culture. She ate strange glowing fruits that pulsed with light and drank liquids that shimmered in colors he couldn't identify. Her sleep patterns were erratic, often resting for short bursts at unusual times, and she occasionally floated mid-air, something Alex could only marvel at. One evening, Alex decided to ask a question he had been dying to know. "Lyra, why are you here on Station Orion? Besides being my roommate?" Lyra's silver eyes focused on him. She tilted her head, and the light across her skin shimmered softly. "I am a scout. My people send observers to understand other civilizations. Humans, you are unpredictable, fascinating, dangerous, but resilient. Alex laughed nervously. Dangerous me? I'm just a student. Lyra's expression didn't change. Your kind has potential that exceeds expectations. That potential is why I am here. To understand it? That night, as Alex lay in bed, he realized how much his life had changed. He had expected an ordinary roommate situation, maybe a few awkward introductions, maybe some small talk. Instead, he had a glowing, telepathic, utterly alien being living with him, watching him, studying him. And most importantly, she seemed genuinely interested in humans, not with hostility, but with curiosity and admiration. The next morning, Alex woke to a faint glow filling his room. Lyra was sitting beside his bed, legs crossed, her tendrils gently brushing against the walls. Good morning, Alex, she said softly. Are you prepared to learn something new today? What, learn? He asked, still rubbing his eyes. Lyra smiled. Everything. How humans navigate this station. How you interact with technology. How you adapt to challenges. Observation is the first step toward understanding. He couldn't help but smile back, despite feeling slightly overwhelmed. Okay, I guess I'm ready. Lyra tilted her head. Good. Today we explore the station's central hub. There are machines you will find curious, humans you will find predictable, and perhaps lessons you will never forget. As Alex followed her out into the bustling corridors of Station Orion, he felt a mixture of excitement and apprehension. Every step he took was a step into the unknown, guided by a roommate who was unlike anyone he had ever met, a creature who had the grace of a predator but the gentleness of a caretaker. By midday, they were in the central hub, a massive area filled with floating platforms, robots of all shapes and aliens of every imaginable design. Lyra moved effortlessly, interacting with devices that Alex could barely comprehend. Observe, she whispered as a small cleaning robot zipped past. It performs tasks with precision, yet it cannot adapt like a human mind can. Alex watched as she demonstrated. She touched the robot lightly with one tendril, and it adjusted its path, avoiding an obstacle it hadn't been programmed to detect. Humans can do this instinctively, Lyra explained. Your ability to improvise is remarkable. Alex felt a mix of pride and confusion. He had never thought of his instincts as remarkable. Yet here was a creature from another world, analyzing him, studying him, and admiring the simplest of his skills. The day continued with lessons that were equal parts mundane and extraordinary. They navigated the station's gravity tunnels, learned to operate communication consoles, and even practiced minor problem-solving exercises designed by Lyra. She was patient, encouraging, and occasionally teasing in ways Alex didn't quite understand but secretly enjoyed. By the time they returned to their apartment, Alex was exhausted. He collapsed onto his bed only for Lyra to perch nearby, glowing softly. Rest, tomorrow we continue, she said. There is much for you to see, much for you to learn. Alex nodded, though he wasn't sure if he could manage another day like this. But as he drifted off to sleep, he realized that for the first time in his life, he was living a story bigger than he could have imagined. His alien roommate, once terrifying in her strange habits, had become his guide, his teacher, and perhaps his first friend in a galaxy that suddenly seemed much larger, much stranger, and much more fascinating than he had ever imagined. And somewhere deep in his mind, a small part of him wondered what wild surprises the next morning would bring. Alex woke with a start, sunlight spilling through the translucent window panels of their apartment. For a moment, he half expected Lyra to be on top of him again, as she had been the first morning he met her, but she wasn't there. Instead, the faint shimmer of her bioluminescent skin glowed from across the room, hovering near the floating workstation she had set up the night before. Good morning, Alex, she said softly, her voice melodic but steady. You slept well. I observed no anomalies in your rest cycle. Alex rubbed his eyes, sitting up on the bed. Thanks. Where were you? Lyra tilted her head, tendrils swaying. Preparing for today's activities? You will accompany me to the station's observation wing. There are many phenomena to witness. Humans often overlook details that are important. Alex groaned. Observation wing. Sounds like school? Lyra's silver eyes twinkled faintly. Perhaps. But learning is essential. You must understand environments beyond your home, beyond Earth. Despite his grogginess, Alex felt a spark of curiosity. The space station had always seemed overwhelming with its countless corridors, floating platforms, and alien species rushing in every direction. Now, with Lyra as a guide, he felt a strange confidence. As they stepped out of the apartment, the station felt alive. Floating holograms flickered with information. Maintenance drones zipped past, and aliens of all shapes and sizes moved with purpose. Lyra led the way, her movements precise and fluid, almost gliding over the magnetic lifts that made travel between levels seamless. "You must pay attention," Lyra instructed. "Observe not just objects but intentions. Every being here has goals, methods, weaknesses. Humans often focus on one thing at a time. That limits understanding." Alex nodded, trying to absorb every detail. He noticed the subtle interactions Lyra pointed out. The way a trader adjusted his pace when a competitor approached. The careful balance a floating delivery drone maintained to avoid collisions, and the small energy fields surrounding certain creatures that seemed to react to presence. "See?" Lyra whispered, pointing with a delicate tendril. "Patterns, connections, predictable reactions. These are the frameworks of behavior." Alex squinted. You notice all that?" "At once?" Lyra's glowing skin pulsed softly. "Yes, it is a basic skill for Zephyrins. But humans can learn. That is why I am here." As they reached the observation wing, Alex marveled at the vast room. Massive windows stretched from floor to ceiling, revealing the swirling cosmos beyond the station. Stars, nebulae, and distant planets shone brilliantly. Several species moved about inside the wing, studying screens, instruments, and alien flora brought from distant systems. Lyra floated beside him, her tendrils brushing against the control panels. "Observe this plant," she said. "It responds to vibrations in the air. Most humans would only notice its color or shape, but these subtle reactions tell much about its origin and survival strategies." Alex leaned closer. Indeed, the plant shifted and curled slightly whenever someone walked nearby, almost as if it were aware of their presence. He nodded slowly. "Okay, that's really cool." Lyra's glowing eyes sparkled. "It is. Curiosity is the first step to understanding. Observation without judgment, without assumption, reveals truth." The morning passed quickly as Alex followed Lyra from one exhibit to another. She explained alien engineering techniques, biology, and cultural nuances with a clarity that was both overwhelming and fascinating. At times, he felt his human brain struggling to keep up, but Lyra's patience and calm guidance made it manageable. During a break, they floated near a window overlooking a cluster of asteroid miners. Alex marveled at the small ships moving among the rocks, extracting resources with precision. "I didn't realize species worked like this," he admitted. Lyra hovered closer. "Many humans and aliens underestimate the importance of coordination. Efficiency is not about speed alone, but precision, communication, and adaptation. Observe how these miners adjust instantly when an asteroid shifts or a ship approaches." Alex watched, fascinated, as the miners navigated the rocks with a combination of machinery and instinct. One ship narrowly avoided a collision, spinning gracefully before returning to course. Lyra's glowing skin pulsed faster, almost like excitement. Impressive. Adaptability like this is rare. By midday, Alex's stomach reminded him he had skipped breakfast in his eagerness to explore. Lyra led him to a communal area, where various food replicators produced meals for humans and aliens alike. Alex hesitated, unsure what to choose, until Lyra handed him a small dish. "Try this. Nutritionally balanced for human physiology. Also, pleasing to taste." He tasted it cautiously. The flavors were unlike anything on Earth. Sweet, savory, and with a hint of something metallic yet comforting. He swallowed and looked at her. "Wow. That's actually good," Lyra tilted her head. "Your response aligns with expectations. Humans are adaptable in taste, but often dismiss unfamiliar flavors. Observation is not limited to sight. They ate in companionable silence, the hum of the station surrounding them. Alex began to notice little things. How Lyra's tendrils would react when a sound surprised her, or how she seemed to subtly adjust her position in zero gravity to maintain balance effortlessly. Every detail added to his understanding, not just of her, but of the station and its inhabitants. After lunch, Lyra led him to a training module. Humans often rely on tools, but survival also requires improvisation. Today you will practice both. Alex watched as holographic simulations projected obstacles from debris fields to malfunctioning machinery. Lyra guided him through each scenario, pointing out mistakes and demonstrating solutions with elegant efficiency. He was clumsy at first, but Lyra's calm presence and subtle encouragement helped him adapt quickly. "You see, Alex," Lyra explained, "humans have intuition. Machines cannot replicate it. Combine it with observation, and your effectiveness increases exponentially." Hours passed in a blur of practice and learning. Alex was exhausted but exhilarated. For the first time, he felt truly connected to the space station. No longer a passive observer, but an active participant guided by Lyra's expertise. As the station's artificial day ended, they returned to their apartment. Alex collapsed onto his bed, muscles sore but mind racing. Lyra floated beside him, glowing softly. "Rest," she said simply. "Tomorrow we continue. There is more to observe, more to learn, and perhaps more surprises for you." Alex couldn't help but smile despite his exhaustion. "More surprises? Huh?" he muttered. He had learned so much in one day and realized that living with Lyra was nothing like he had expected. Each moment was unpredictable, thrilling, and strangely comforting. As sleep claimed him, he felt a sense of anticipation. Tomorrow he would learn more about Lyra's world, about the station, and about himself. He knew deep down that his life had changed forever. The presence of an alien roommate, shocking as it had been at first, was now something he welcomed. The unknown had become exciting, and somewhere in the back of his mind, he wondered what wild things Lyra might do next to keep teaching him, surprising him, and showing him just how extraordinary life could be when humans and aliens worked together. Alex woke to the soft hum of the space station, the glow of distant stars filtering through the apartment windows. His body ached pleasantly from the previous day's exercises with Lyra, but his mind buzzed with curiosity. Today, he sensed, would be different. Lyra was already awake, her silver eyes scanning a floating holographic map. The faint glow of her skin pulsed rhythmically, almost like a heartbeat. "Alex," she said, her voice calm yet intense, "today I will show you something beyond mere observation. Something you must understand if you are to navigate this station and your own potential." Alex sat up, rubbing his eyes. Okay. What is it?" Lyra's tendrils twitched in a subtle rhythm. "I am a scout for my people. My mission is to observe other species, especially humans. But you are unique. Your responses are unpredictable, fascinating." Alex blinked. "Scout, you mean like a spy?" Lyra shook her head, a slow, graceful motion. "Not a spy. An observer. My people seek knowledge, not conquest. Yet understanding humans requires direct interaction. That is why I'm here with you. My presence is sanctioned but unusual." Alex felt a mixture of shock and curiosity. He had suspected Lyra's intelligence, but he had never imagined she was officially studying humans. "Wait, so everything you've been doing? Observing me?" Lyra nodded. "Yes. Every action, every reaction, every choice you make is valuable data. Humans often underestimate their own potential." "I do not. You. Stand out." The words made Alex's heart beat faster, a mix of pride and anxiety. "So, all the weird stuff you do? Floating, glowing, reading my thoughts sometimes. It was all for study?" Lyra's silver eyes softened. "Not entirely. There is also curiosity. Humans are different. Spontaneous, adaptable, creative. Traits my people rarely see combined in one individual. You fascinate me, more than any data set could." Alex felt a strange thrill. He had never been called fascinating before, let alone by an alien from another world. "Wow, okay. That's wild," he admitted. Lyra's glowing skin pulsed slightly faster. "Yes, wild, unpredictable, enlightening. That is the essence of humans. And you, Alex, exemplify it." They spent the morning in the observation wing, where Lyra introduced Alex to a series of alien machines designed to measure behavior, problem-solving, and adaptability. Unlike Earth technology, these devices were interactive, adjusting scenarios dynamically based on responses. Alex participated eagerly, discovering skills he didn't know he had. Lyra guided him through simulations where timing, logic, and intuition mattered. One involved maneuvering through a zero-gravity obstacle course while coordinating with holographic partners. Alex stumbled at first, unsure of how to combine speed and precision. Lyra's calm presence beside him, guiding with subtle gestures and soft telepathic nudges, allowed him to improve quickly. "You see," she said, "humans can adapt faster than any programmed algorithm. Observation alone cannot replicate instinct. Your species thrives on improvisation. Alex grinned, feeling a mix of pride and excitement. So all those games I played as a kid, they actually prepared me for stuff like this? Lyra's tendrils quivered in amusement. Perhaps. Play is a form of learning. Humans use it instinctively. Your species' adaptability is remarkable. After the training, Lyra led him to a quiet chamber filled with holographic projections of distant worlds. Stars, planets, and moons rotated slowly, creating a cosmic panorama. Alex felt a sense of awe as he took in the vastness of the galaxy. Humans often view themselves as insignificant, Lyra said softly, but you are capable of understanding, of influencing, of creating connections across worlds. Few species possess this. That is why I observe you, specifically you. Alex's mind reeled. He had always thought of himself as ordinary, just another student. Now an alien from a distant planet was telling him he was extraordinary. Me, extraordinary? He asked, half laughing. Lyra's gaze was unwavering. Yes, you show resilience, curiosity, and creativity. Traits rare even among humans. Traits essential for survival and growth in unpredictable environments. The conversation shifted to more personal topics. Lyra asked about his life on Earth, his family, and his experiences. Alex realized she wasn't just gathering data. She genuinely wanted to understand him. Her questions were insightful, sometimes teasing, and often made him reflect on himself in ways he had never done before. By midday, they returned to the apartment. Alex was exhausted but exhilarated. As he sat on the bed, Lyra floated beside him, her glowing form softening in color. There is something else you must know, she said quietly. I did not reveal this before because it could influence your reactions, but honesty is essential for understanding. Alex leaned forward, curiosity piqued. Okay, what is it? Lyra's gaze met his. Humans are remarkable, but your presence, your energy, your instinct, your unpredictability has created a bond I did not anticipate. Telepathically we are, linked in subtle ways. Not permanently but sufficiently to influence each other's perceptions. Alex froze. Linked? Like, you can read my mind? Lyra shook her head gently. Not entirely. More like sensing, detecting emotional and cognitive patterns. It allows me to respond appropriately, to guide, to protect. You may feel my attention in unusual ways. That is the bond. Alex swallowed. So, all the times I thought you were just weird or staring at me, you were sensing me? Lyra's tendrils twitched lightly. Correct. It is not intrusive, but it is unusual for a human to evoke this level of response in me. Your presence stimulates curiosity and analysis simultaneously. It is unique. Alex felt a mixture of shock and fascination. The thought that he could influence an alien in such a profound way was exhilarating. Wow. That is wild. I mean, really wild. Lyra's glowing eyes softened. Yes, wild as you say. Humans are unpredictable yet adaptable. That combination is enlightening. The afternoon passed with more lessons and demonstrations. Lyra taught Alex how to interact with alien technology in ways humans had never imagined. Floating consoles that responded to thought patterns, holographic interfaces that adapted to emotion, and environmental controls that required intuitive coordination. Alex struggled at first, but Lyra's guidance made each success more satisfying. She praised him for his intuition, for noticing patterns others missed, and for adapting quickly to unexpected changes. Each compliment, each acknowledgement of his human traits made him feel more confident in his abilities. Later, Lyra led him to a simulation chamber where they faced hypothetical emergencies, malfunctioning airlocks, rogue drones, and sudden power outages. Alex relied on his instincts, combining human intuition with what he had learned from Lyra. The scenarios were challenging, but they worked seamlessly as a team. You see, Lyra said as the last simulation ended successfully, humans excel when combining creativity with observation. You are capable of solutions beyond programming. That is why you are remarkable, Alex laughed, shaking his head. I can't believe I'm hearing this from an alien scout. Me remarkable? Who would have thought? Lyra's glowing form pulsed gently. Few humans understand their own potential. Most underestimate themselves. Observation alone cannot reveal truth. Interaction, guidance, and challenge are required. That is why I am here. As evening fell, Alex and Lyra returned to their apartment. The city lights of Station Orion twinkled outside, reflecting on the glass walls. Alex felt a mix of exhaustion, excitement, and curiosity. Lyra, sitting nearby, seemed to sense his emotions without words. "Alex," she said softly, "tomorrow you will face more challenges. But remember, your adaptability, creativity, and intuition are your strengths. You must trust them." Alex nodded, feeling a new sense of purpose. Living with Lyra was no longer just about survival or observation. It was about growth, understanding, and discovering the extraordinary potential within himself. As he lay down to sleep, he realized that the wildest part wasn't Lyra's abilities or her alien habits. It was the way she made him see himself differently. For the first time in his life, he felt that he could do things he had never imagined, and he knew that tomorrow Lyra would show him even more, pushing him to explore the limits of his human potential in ways he couldn't yet predict. And somewhere deep in his mind, a small, excited thought whispered, life with an alien roommate was going to be far more extraordinary than he had ever dreamed. Alex woke to the soft hum of the space station's artificial morning. Sunlight, filtered through translucent panels, filled the apartment with a pale glow. He stretched, still feeling the aches from yesterday's training with Lyra, but excitement coursed through him. Today, she had promised, would be unlike anything he had experienced before. Lyra hovered nearby, her silver eyes scanning the floating display panels in the apartment. Her skin shimmered faintly, pulsing with soft light as if reflecting her anticipation. "Alex," she said, her voice calm yet commanding, "today you will face scenarios that test not only your understanding but also your adaptability under pressure." "Observation alone will not suffice." Alex sat up, rubbing his eyes. "Pressure? What kind of scenarios?" Lyra tilted her head. "Unexpected situations, unfamiliar threats. Humans often underestimate their own potential in moments of crisis. You will learn by doing." He nodded, a mix of nervousness and excitement building inside him. Over the past few days, life with Lyra had been both fascinating and exhausting. Her lessons were unlike anything he had ever experienced, combining observation, improvisation, and creativity. Today, he would see just how far that training could take him. The two of them left the apartment and moved through the bustling corridors of Station Orion. Floating drones zipped past, holographic advertisements flickered, and aliens of all shapes and sizes hurried to their destinations. Alex followed closely, marveling at the subtle interactions Lyra pointed out. The way certain species adjusted their paths to avoid collision, the careful coordination of multi-species workers, and the silent communication that took place through gestures and tiny pulses of energy. As they approached a restricted section of the station, Lyra's glowing skin pulsed slightly faster. "Here," she said, "is where observation alone is insufficient. Today your instincts will guide you more than your knowledge." Alex swallowed. "Instincts, huh? You mean, like using my gut?" Lyra nodded. "Yes, and combining it with observation. Efficiency is the key." The restricted area was a storage hub for advanced experimental technology, guarded by robotic sentries and security protocols. As Lyra guided him inside, Alex noticed the precision with which she moved. She seemed to anticipate the robot's patrols and the shifting magnetic fields of the zero-gravity chambers. Every movement was deliberate, smooth, and calculated. Suddenly, alarms blared. Red lights flashed, and a mechanical voice announced, "Unauthorized presence detected. Security breach in progress." Alex froze. What just happened?" Lyra's tendrils twitched rapidly. "A faction of rogue aliens has infiltrated the station. Their target is this hub. We must act." Before Alex could respond, Lyra grabbed his arm gently, guiding him behind a stack of storage crates. "Stay calm, observe, react." Alex's heart pounded. His training with Lyra had prepared him for simulations, but this was real. Danger was present, and they were directly in the line of it. Through a gap in the crates, Alex could see the intruders, 3 heavily armed figures moving with precision and purpose. They seemed to know the station intimately, bypassing automated security effortlessly. "Your intuition," Lyra whispered, "will guide us. Humans excel when improvisation is needed. Watch their patterns, notice weaknesses." Alex took a deep breath, focusing. He noticed that one of the intruders paused briefly whenever a robotic sentry scanned the area, while another seemed to rely on the same predictable pattern for movement, small, subtle behaviors that Lyra had taught him to observe. Lyra gestured for him to follow. "Now act." Using the crates for cover, Alex and Lyra moved strategically through the storage hub. Lyra's tendrils interacted with control panels, silently overriding security protocols to create diversions. Alex, following her lead, used his instincts to predict the intruder's movements, guiding Lyra to positions that maximized their advantage. At one point, a rogue alien nearly spotted Alex. He froze, heart racing, but remembered Lyra's lessons about observation and timing. When the intruder stepped away momentarily, Alex darted to a safe position, barely avoiding detection. Lyra's soft hum of approval reached his mind through subtle telepathic signals. They reached the main control console, where Lyra began overriding the storage hub's security systems. "I will create a lockout sequence," she whispered. "You must ensure the intruders do not interfere. Your human instincts will be essential." Alex nodded. He watched carefully, noticing a small vent leading directly to the console. One of the intruders was approaching from that direction. Without thinking, Alex grabbed a nearby tool, using it to block the vent just enough to slow the intruder. It was risky, improvisational, and human, but it worked. Lyra's eyes sparkled with approval. "Well done. You anticipated a pattern I could not detect from here. That is, impressive." The intruders continued their approach, but Alex and Lyra moved with precision, using every bit of knowledge, observation, and instinct at their disposal. One intruder tripped over a loose panel. Another became momentarily distracted by a sudden holographic projection. Small victories accumulated, tipping the balance in their favor. Finally, Lyra initiated the lockdown sequence. A shimmering energy field encased the storage hub, trapping the rogue aliens inside while neutralizing their weapons with non-lethal energy pulses. They struggled, frustrated, but could not escape. Alex exhaled, his body trembling from adrenaline. "We did it," he said, still in disbelief. Lyra floated beside him, her glowing skin pulsing softly. "Yes, together human intuition and Zyphern analysis succeeded. You demonstrated adaptability, courage, and critical thinking under pressure. These are traits my people admire but rarely see combined in one individual." Alex laughed, half from relief and half from amazement. "So I wasn't just lucky?" Lyra tilted her head. "Luck plays a minor role. Your success was primarily due to observation, improvisation, and trust in your instincts. These are human strengths, traits you must recognize within yourself." As the station's security teams arrived to secure the rogue intruders, Alex felt a surge of pride. He had faced real danger, relied on his human instincts, and worked seamlessly with an alien being whose abilities far exceeded his own. Together, they had prevented a serious breach, and he felt his confidence grow. Later, back in their apartment, Alex collapsed onto the bed, exhausted but exhilarated. Lyra hovered nearby, her glow dimmed to a calming blue. "Rest now. You have performed admirably, but recovery is necessary. Your human body requires it." Alex nodded, smiling despite fatigue. "I still can't believe we just did that. Real danger. Actual intruders. And we handled it." Lyra's silver eyes met his. "You handled it because you trusted yourself. Because you combined what you know with what you observe and adaptively applied it. That is human ingenuity. That is why humans are remarkable." Alex leaned back, reflecting on the day. He had learned about Lyra's world, experienced training that pushed him to his limits, and faced a real threat alongside her. Each moment had reinforced the lessons she had been teaching: observation, adaptability, courage, and trust in his own instincts. "Alex," Lyra said softly, almost contemplatively, "you are changing the way I perceive humans. Your adaptability and creativity are exceptional. Few individuals inspire such observation." Alex laughed lightly. "I didn't think I could ever inspire an alien scout." Lyra's glow pulsed gently, a soft, approving rhythm. "You inspire more than you realize. That is why our partnership is effective. Together we are stronger than we would be separately." As the artificial night approached on Station Orion, Alex felt a sense of calm he had never known. He had faced danger, relied on instinct, and succeeded. He had begun to understand Lyra's world, and she had begun to see the potential in humans not as mere curiosities, but as beings capable of ingenuity, courage, and growth. Lying in bed, he realized that living with Lyra was no longer just an adventure. It was a journey of self-discovery. He had been pushed to his limits, yet he had thrived. He had faced fear, uncertainty, and danger, and come out stronger, smarter, and more confident. And somewhere deep inside, he knew the wildest part was yet to come. Lyra had shown him only a fraction of what the station and the galaxy could teach him. The bond they had forged through trust, observation, and cooperation would be tested further, and Alex felt a thrilling anticipation for what the next challenge might be. For the first time, he understood the true meaning of living alongside someone, or something that challenged him, guided him, and believed in him. And he knew that tomorrow would bring new adventures, new lessons, and perhaps even greater revelations about the universe, about Lyra and about himself. As sleep claimed him, Alex felt a quiet excitement. The galaxy was vast, unpredictable, and wild, and he had a glowing, telepathic alien scout as his guide. Together they would face whatever the stars threw at them, and Alex couldn't wait. Alex woke to the soft hum of the station, the faint glow of the distant stars casting a serene light across their apartment. His body was sore but not exhausted, a satisfying ache from the challenges of the past days. Today, however, felt different. He sensed it the moment he opened his eyes. Lyra hovered nearby, her silver eyes focused on him, glowing softly. "Alex," she said, her voice calm and melodic, "today you will apply everything you have learned. Observation, adaptability, intuition, and courage will be required. There is a situation unfolding in the outer docking bay that needs immediate attention." Alex's pulse quickened. The last few days had prepared him for simulations, lessons, and even real intrusions, but this felt larger, more serious. "Outer docking bay? What's happening?" Lyra's tendrils twitched with subtle urgency. "A freighter has lost control during docking procedures. It is carrying volatile cargo. If not stabilized, it could damage the station and endanger many lives. We must act immediately." Alex leapt from bed, adrenaline flooding through him. "Then let's go." The corridors of Station Orion rushed past them as they moved toward the docking bay. Alex noticed the tension in the air, aliens and humans alike moving with precision, responding to alerts. Lyra's glowing form guided him effortlessly through the chaos, her knowledge of the station's systems unmatched. As they approached the bay, Alex could see the freighter spinning slowly, its thrusters damaged, cargo crates shifting dangerously. Sparks flew and alarms blared. The situation was dire, but Lyra's calm presence grounded him. "Observe first," she instructed, "then act. Your human intuition is essential." Alex scanned the freighter, noting its trajectory, the location of control panels, and the movement of unstable cargo. He realized that Lyra had taught him to notice patterns, anticipate outcomes, and act decisively. All of his training and observations came together in this moment. Lyra extended a tendril toward a nearby control console, initiating a stabilizing program. "I can adjust thrusters partially," she said, "but human decision-making is required for cargo management." Alex hesitated only for a moment before moving toward the freighter. He used a combination of handholds and small magnetic grips to stabilize himself in zero gravity. Carefully, he shifted crates, aligning them to balance the freighter's weight. Lyra monitored his actions, providing subtle guidance and telepathic cues to optimize his movements. Sweat formed on his brow despite the station's climate control. Each movement required precision and timing. One wrong shift and the volatile cargo could trigger a catastrophic chain reaction. Alex's heart pounded, but he focused on what he had learned. The lessons of observation, adaptability, and trusting his instincts. Lyra's voice was calm, almost soothing amidst the chaos. "Adjust the center of mass slightly. Anticipate the momentum changes." Alex followed her instructions, carefully repositioning the largest crates. The freighter's spin slowed, but not enough. Sparks continued to flare from damaged panels. Another adjustment was needed. "Alex," Lyra said softly, "you must act instinctively now. There is no time for calculation." Alex took a deep breath. His instincts, honed through training and observation, guided him. He reached a control panel, overriding damaged circuits with a combination of human intuition and what he had learned from Lyra's guidance. The freighter stabilized gradually, the volatile cargo secured, and the thrusters regained partial control. Alex exhaled, adrenaline slowly leaving his body. I did it," he said, disbelief and pride mingling in his voice. Lyra floated beside him, her glowing skin pulsing in a gentle rhythm. "Yes, together human intuition and Sci-Fi expertise prevented disaster. Your ability to adapt, observe, and act decisively saved many lives. These are traits my people admire greatly." Alex laughed lightly, still catching his breath. So I guess humans really are remarkable, huh? Lyra's silver eyes sparkled. Yes, Alex, remarkable, and you specifically exemplify that potential. After the freighter was secured and the docking bay restored to safety, Alex and Lyra returned to their apartment. The hum of the station was now calm, ordinary once more, but Alex's mind was still racing. He had faced real danger, relied on his instincts, and succeeded alongside Lyra, who had become more than a teacher or observer. She was a partner, a guide, and increasingly, a friend. Sitting on his bed, Alex looked at her. Lyra, I have to say these past few days have been incredible. I've learned so much, seen things I never imagined, and, well, I've faced danger and survived. Lyra hovered closer, her tendrils swaying gently. Yes, and you have exceeded expectations. Your adaptability, creativity, and courage are noteworthy. More than that, you have formed a bond with me that transcends simple observation. That connection enhances both our abilities. Alex smiled. You mean, like teamwork? Lyra's eyes twinkled softly. Teamwork, yes, but also understanding, trust, and mutual growth. We learn from each other, and in doing so become stronger than we would alone. Alex felt a warm sense of accomplishment and connection. Living with an alien roommate had been shocking at first. Unfamiliar, sometimes terrifying, but now it was exhilarating, fulfilling, and even comforting. He had grown, learned, and discovered abilities he never knew he had. Lyra floated near him, her glow dimming to a soothing blue. Alex, these experiences are only the beginning. The galaxy is vast. There are countless scenarios, cultures, and challenges to encounter. You have proven yourself capable, but there is always more to learn. Alex nodded, feeling a sense of excitement and anticipation. I'm ready. I want to see more, learn more, and I want to keep doing it with you. Lyra's glowing eyes softened. And I, in turn, will continue to guide, observe, and learn from you. Our partnership is mutually beneficial and, unexpectedly, enjoyable. For the first time, Alex realized the full scope of their journey. He had started as a student, a human unsure of his place in the vastness of space. Now he was an explorer, a collaborator, and a capable partner to an alien of remarkable abilities. Together they had faced challenges, averted disaster, and learned the power of trust, observation, and ingenuity. The rest of the evening passed quietly. Alex and Lyra reviewed their experiences, discussed improvements for future challenges, and shared stories of their respective worlds. Alex laughed at some of Lyra's cultural quirks, while she expressed fascination at human customs he described. The conversation was easy, natural, and filled with a mutual respect that went beyond words. As night fell on Station Orion, Alex lay in bed, feeling a deep sense of fulfillment. He had faced fear, adapted under pressure, and discovered a potential within himself he had never realized. Lyra had guided him, challenged him, and celebrated his successes. And through it all, he had learned that the galaxy was not a place to fear, but a space to explore, understand, and thrive in. Lyra floated near the window, looking out at the stars. Alex, she said softly, tomorrow is another day. There will be new lessons, new challenges, and new opportunities. But remember this, your potential is extraordinary, and your instincts, courage, and adaptability are your greatest strengths. Trust them always. Alex smiled, feeling a sense of peace. I will, and I'll face it all with you. Lyra's glow pulsed gently, almost like a heartbeat. Good, that is the proper approach. Together we are formidable. And I look forward to our future adventures, Alex. As Alex drifted to sleep, he reflected on how much his life had changed. He had started this journey expecting a mundane roommate situation, and found himself in a partnership with an alien scout, exploring a vast space station, learning new skills, and facing challenges that tested him in ways he never imagined. He realized that living with Lyra was not just about observation or training, it was about growth, discovery, and connection. And most importantly, it was about realizing that humans, when guided by instinct, creativity, and courage, were capable of extraordinary things. For the first time, Alex felt confident not just in his abilities but in his place in the galaxy. With Lyra by his side, he knew that whatever challenges awaited, he would face them with courage, adaptability, and intelligence. And he knew, without a doubt, that life with his alien roommate would continue to be wild, fascinating, and endlessly surprising.